What's happening, everyone, and welcome to El Chile Boxing Talk. Got the homie George with Off the Ropes Boxing and MMA, and brother, it's fight week, man, and I'm feeling good. How you doing?
I mean, it's fight week. It felt like it was fight week for like the last couple of weeks, because this is the lead up to this Saturday finally, and then just the last couple of weeks of boxing. But this is the big one. This is the big one right here. I'm excited for this one for sure.
This is the big one, and you know what that means. It's almost time for an ass whipping, and I'm pumped. You know what I mean? There's something about like September as well, but there's something about like that Cinco de Mayo date. You know what I mean? When you got that cash cow. I remember when there was like, and we're gonna pay some homage to these people right now. Actually, the person who kicked it off, just as a tip of the hat, was Oscar De La Hoya back in the day. He's the one who made this. Everybody's giving him the credit for it, saying that he started it off against your boy Campus, and then in 2006 against Mayorga, and 2007 against Floyd Mayweather, who subsequently took that Cinco de Mayo weekend date over. Do you remember any of these fights, man?
I'm looking at them right now. The Campos and De La Hoya is a little bit, a little blurry to me, but of course, looking over them when they happened, or later on as they happened when they show highlights. De La Hoya was a beast in 2003, and we did the De La Hoya tribute a couple months back, and when we did that rescoring, we went over De La Hoya's history and like some of De La Hoya's attributes, and it's good to go back to see 2003 De La Hoya. I for sure remember the next two, the Mayorga and Mayweather. I think there was something there, right? I mean, Mayweather he took the Cinco de Mayo too, and I don't know if it was to mock Cinco de Mayo or to mock the Mexican people, or hey, he realized the majority of the boxing fans. And I mean, it is not to sound like there's favoritism or anything like that, but it's the Latinos, man, Mexicans, and the Latino people. I think is the big fan base. So I think that was a good way to fight on Cinco de Mayo.
Oh yeah, definitely a smart business move. Your boy Campus, who's this old man De La Hoya was fighting? Like I was out of boxing at the time. Like I went from like a person in high school to somebody who kind of fell out of it. I didn't really get back into it until De La Hoya versus Floyd Mayweather. That kind of got me back into to boxing. And then when I saw Pacquiao versus Morales 3, that's when I really got back into boxing, But I do remember the Mayorga fight and the Floyd Mayweather fight. But like you said, man, after that, before I get there, I want to give a shout out to JC, who's in the house. Welcome, brother. We got Remy.
Oh, yeah.
Shouting us out, man. So, dude, thank you for being here.
What's up, Remy?
And then you're right. It became Cinco de Mayweather, man, who took it over. And he had a pretty nice little stint in May. Had it for a long time. Now, there's some, there's 2011. There was some people like in between who actually had some good fights. Pacquiao versus Marquez. Fury also fought on one of the dates. But mainly we're here to honor the torchbearers of the people who can own the date because they're the cash cow. And Floyd Mayweather had a nice little stint. What do you think about this run for Cinco de Mayweather?
Hey, man, just looking over these names, he held records, for pay-per-view, man. So that's whether you want to see him lose or you were the fan of Mayweather. I mean, you were tuned in to Cinco de Mayo. You knew once it was, April, even January, you knew that you were expecting to see a fight in May with Mayweather and whoever was hot at the moment or whoever you decided to pick as his opponent. So
yeah. And the thing about Mayweather is like, I would say that more often than not, I would root against him, even though I'm a fan of his now. And I like watching his skill in general. So I guess I am a fan, but I would actively root against him most of the time in real time. But man, there was that kind of feeling of like the cash cow or the face of boxing going in. Like it's something that's different. You know what I mean? And Floyd Mayweather definitely had that. Even with the Shane Mosley fight, I was looking forward to that one. The Cotto fight, I was in Vegas for my bachelor party for that one. And he had Canelo on the undercard against Mosley in that one. Guerrero, knew the guy wouldn't stand a chance. Maidana, I was freshly divorced. I was on a date, and I kind of missed that one live. But it was playing in the background in San Francisco, and I remember thinking that Maidana was doing a damn good job. And when we did the rescore here in El Chile, I thought Maidana won that fight. I was surprised with my own scorecard because I wasn't like looking to give it to Maidana or anything like that. And I thought Maidana made a good account of himself. And then, of course, the Manny Pacquiao fight. Well, we got it a little late, but I mean, still Cinco de Mayweather, though. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes. Yeah. For me, so going down the line, I'll start off like this. Of course, I kind of told you my personal before what I'm doing now, like as a career. I was a barber. and one of the guys was a big Mayweather fan, and we're going back and forth. Nobody wanted to do money, so we're like, you know what? Whoever loses has to get a flat top. So I had to rock a flat top, man, for like 2 weeks. My ex-wife at the time, she just was like, you know what? You need to shave that. I can't stop looking at you. She's like, I feel like you're gonna go arrest somebody right now in public. Just she's like, I look like a cop with this flat top. But Cotto, that one to me, I feel like that one happened a little late too. I think before Cotto fought Margarito, there was already talks of Cotto and Mayweather, but Mayweather ended up fighting his sparring Cotto's sparring partner, Brussels. So I mean, the guys he fought, they're well-known names. Maidana, I think he surprised a lot of people. Guerrero, I even though like you said, you pretty much most of the time went against him. I was the same way too. I think as I got older now, like I appreciated what he did as a boxer, but I just at the time I just like I was younger, I'm like, man, I just can't stand this guy's attitude. I really want somebody to straighten him out. But Cotto he made him change his complete style. He started training with his dad because his dad felt like he was getting hit a little too much. And then you see actually from the Cotto on, you just see like this more of a defensive of Mayweather. So, and Pacquiao, we all know that one happened way too damn late, man. Way too damn late.
Man, good stuff. Great calls on a lot of that. And Remy says, sweet hat, Chicano. Well, thanks very much, Remy. I got this other hat right here on standby for something a little bit later. Remy, and if you could tell me what this hat's for, you get an extra one. If you could tell me.
Sheesh.
Yeah, so let's see if you got your thinking cap on. And so after this, man, we know what happens next. Saul Canelo Alvarez becomes the torchbearer of Cinco de Mayo. And, man, he started off in 2016 against Khan, which feels like a long time ago, even though it's more recent than the other ones. Man, I remember seeing that one in the theater. Canelo versus Chavez Jr. I mean, that was fun. I mean, at the time, that was a pretty good fight. I mean, it ended up being a foregone conclusion and a beatdown. But, man, at the time, that was a pretty good fight. I haven't watched that fight I don't even think I've watched it a second time, but it was fun to watch. Daniel Jacobs, 3-belt unification, and then against Billy Joe Saunders to become also a 3-belt title holder. And then Dimitri Bivol's coming up, man. What do you think of this little lineup of the current torchbearer and the person who owns Cinco de Mayo if he wants it?
Oh, man, it just seems right. Canelo fighting out of Mexico, even though, I mean, to me that it always should have been, someone Mexican descent, obviously carrying the Cinco de Mayo and hey, Mayweather. I don't think Mayweather. I think a lot of people maybe think Mayweather was, biased towards Mexicans or whatever, but unbiased. I don't think he was. I just think he realized there was a marketing ploy or whatever it was. But these fights here, man, Canelo is good to see. He's got the fans behind him. He's got these good fights to show up. The Chavez Jr. I'm with you too. I think I seen that once. I remember the pre-fight or the whole lead up to it. I think a lot of people were excited because they felt like this was going to be a pretty genuine test against Chavez Jr. Even though Chavez Jr. just didn't have that switch, man, to turn it on to go into beast mode. I think that's what he lacked the most was the discipline. But I mean, all these fights are great. And then of course we got this one this Saturday.
Hell yeah, man. And to honor this weekend, what we did is we put together a 12 rounds. The Chile Crew put down our own 12 rounds. We modified it from like the ESPN 12 rounds. And dude, you know what? There was a lot of people that were unavailable. We're never consistent on our date anyways. It's like, we're just a bunch of guys with different circumstances. And when can we get it together? It's Run PMC's birthday. Happy birthday, Run PMC. Sean, he's a busy guy in general. And Nopal, he's out in the forest right now. You know what I mean? With bad receptions. But I'm sure he'll be listening in. But what we're going to do is we're going to start up the 12 rounds. But we have the submissions. And so we're going to get right into it, man. 12 rounds to assess everything that Canelo and Bivol got going on. And then at the end of the show, man, we're going to do our predictions. All right, dude. So let's get it going.
Round 1. Power.
All right, man. And so this one was 3-1. But you and I picked the same for this one, George. Tell us about this one, brother.
Oh, man. Power. I mean, naturally, you look at Canelo, you wouldn't think of him as a 175-pound fighter. But we saw what he did against Kovalev. Whether people believe Kovalev was at the end of his career or not, I mean, power's power, man. And I think pretty much as we go along our 12 round, you're gonna. I think Canelo is one of those rare guys that can carry most of all those attributes with him going up in weight. I just think the power for me is it's going to lean a little bit towards Canelo, and it's not by much because I mean Bivol's a natural 175 guy. You know, I think his knockouts his knockout ratio isn't as high as we would think for him being a 175-pound fighter. I will say this though, I think there is a difference between power and strength. So we're gonna actually see if Canelo has strength at 175 for a guy that's actually a natural 175-pound fighter. So I would say if we had strength in here in the round 12, in our 12 rounds, I would favor Bivol, but we're talking about boxing power. So I'm leaning with Canelo, man, and it's gonna be interesting to see what happens in that department as far as power.
Advantage Canelo.
That's right, man. 3 of us had Canelo for power, and I agree with a lot of that, man. You know, if you're just assessing power, Canelo's already gone up to 175 and knocked out Kovalev. We know he's the power puncher. We know he's the KO puncher. And Bivol, in general, isn't really known as a puncher. I think he's got solid pop. Pop would be the best word. I wouldn't call it like power, you know, enough to maybe keep somebody honest, right? But he ain't knocking out anybody. And he sure as hell ain't knocking out Canelo. That's what I know. You know, so see, yeah. I'm getting a little carried away. Let me settle on down here. Let me settle on down. All right. All right. But I do want to mention what Rum PMC said, because he had a different opinion real quick. He said that Bivol has the advantage in this category. He says, Bivol possesses more natural strength and has heavier punches, but I believe Canelo also displays his power in the ring by using his other attributes, such as speed, timing, and defense. Just because you have the strength advantage does not mean you use it. Well, there you go, man. Let's see what's up with round 2.
Round 2, speed.
All right, man. And we're all in agreement with this one, dude. We all went with Bivol for speed. I think Canelo has very good speed. I think that Canelo will be the fastest opponent that Bivol has ever faced. But I think that if you're talking about hand speed and foot speed, I think that Bivol has the natural advantage. He might not be sitting on his punches as much or hitting as hard, but as far as like fast hands and feet that can get in and out, I think Bivol has the advantage here.
Yeah, you're right. And you can kind of see it. And not that Canelo doesn't throw straight shots, but I feel like from point A to point B, I feel like that is Bivol. You know, I feel like that's a little bit, I think he gets there a little bit quicker from point A to point B. I think he throws straighter shot. He throws straighter shots a little bit better than Canelo, but yeah, JC, it is this. He does have deceiving speed, and that's a good word to use as well. I would say he's got that deceiving speed, and hey, you know, what was the verdict, man, on that one?
Advantage Bivol.
Hey.
Oh yeah.
Round 3, offense.
All right, and the Chile Crew was unanimous on this one. George, tell us about it, brother.
Offense, man. You know, and offense. It's putting the punches together. You know, body shots, jabs, finding openings. I mean, come on, Canelo is a walking highlight, man. Anytime you see a highlight of Canelo, even if he's not knocking the guy out, you're seeing him display this beautiful offense, man. Hey, the crew went with it.
It's hard to argue that, man. I mean, Canelo has so many tools, and he's so fine-tuned, along with the power, which is involved in offense. The ability to have offense as a good defense, to continue to bring it. To me, I mean, it's just a clear outcome for Canelo.
Advantage Canelo.
Poor Con, I had to do that. Okay, I'm not gonna have any more fun with my slides, but that one.
Hey, man, I like your slides, man. Keep them up.
I had this one where Canelo's like on his knees looking down at Con, like, what have I done? You know, and I thought, nah, I won't use that.
Like the scene from Gladiator, right?
Exactly. JC thinks that the offense is a little bit even. You know, thank you, JC, for chiming in. And I think you had it even as well, right? For offense, I think that I have to check your notes, brother. Let me see here.
No, I had it for Canelo.
You're right. You had it for Canelo. That's right. I see where your tie's at. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. And let's see it. Hey, we're gonna keep on going, brother. Man.
Round 4, defense.
All right, and we're all in agreement on this one. I think that Bivol has very good defense. He uses his feet a lot. His guard is also not bad. He likes to step out of range and then kind of come in range on his own timing. I think that if I had to rank his defense, I would give him like a solid B plus. Very good defense in general for what he does with his own rhythm. But Canelo just has an excellent defense, and we all know this. If we're talking about head movement, we're talking about the high guard, we're talking about the slipping and the sliding. I mean, to me, there's no doubt. What do you think, George?
You know, and when we're picking these people, it's not like it's a complete, you know, across the board, you know, everything checks off. But I feel it was a tough one for me. Only, you know, I guess if we're doing our rounds, we're going in this fight in particular, right? And I think if we're gonna grade it, I think in this fight, Bivol will probably have a little bit better defense, only because the size advantage, and you know his footwork. I know that's one of the rounds in here that we have scored. I think the footwork goes hand in hand with defense, and I think him to be able to get in and out and his high guard, you know, it gets a little overlooked, and I think they look at Bivol as more of like an offensive fighter. You know, not to us, but like we you know, of course, we're breaking down all the attributes of both guys, but and me picking Bivol doesn't mean I didn't think Canelo's defense is good. Like Canelo's defense, you know, shows it right against Austin Trout. You saw one of the highlights he does, you know, sliding, bobbing and weaving and sidestepping. So, I mean, if I go back, I would pick both, but I just feel in this fight, Bivol's defense is will probably be better with the size advantage for him.
Hey man, I respect that, but the rest of us went with Canelo.
Advantage Canelo. Round 5. Footwork.
All right, we had some differing opinions on this one, George. Tell us what you think, brother.
Yeah, just like, hey, I'm sorry, real quick. I did actually had both guys. I picked on round 4, right?
You did. I didn't want to correct you. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I should have been like, actually, George. No, just kidding. But go ahead, man.
Hey, man, you can call my shit out if you want. We're
no,
homies.
Man. Well, you know
We're
what?
homies.
Plus, you know what? I'll tell you what. I keep thinking about this fight more and more and keep breaking it down in my head. So, I mean, you can make different considerations. I mean, when Run gave me his information and he had good notes on them, and I was thinking about the things that he said about some of these, you know what I mean? And it made me think too, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, I mean, I get it.
Yeah. So I guess I went back. I went, you know, back to round 4. I did have both. I just realized that looking over my notes. But round 5, the footwork for me, I think I'm, you know, I leaned with Bivol there. But again, they do go hand in hand. I think the footwork is good. I think Canelo is good in the pocket. He's good at making people miss. So, you know, I think that's where I went even. But footwork, I just feel like it's Bivol. I just feel like I think his footwork gets overlooked. But again, you know, when we're breaking these fights down, I feel like I'm not gonna just go look back over all the fights. I'm gonna even, you know, put them in with this fight that they got going on. So I think that's where sometimes I pick Bivol over, or I might pick them both the same. But I think for me, I think it's just Bivol has the footwork.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. It was 3-1. Run PMC actually ended up going with Canelo for this one. He says efficiency is king. Very little wasted movement at this point for Canelo. I mean, that's a great point. You know, Canelo has his own very intelligent footwork. So props to Bivol for winning the footwork. And yeah, man, let's go to round 6.
Round 6, Ring IQ.
All right. And George, we almost had a clean sweep, man, but you had this one even. Tell us your thoughts, brother.
On Ring IQ, yeah. You know, I think it goes back to even though I think Bivol is really good as far as his basics or you know, his 101 boxing. I think he you know, it shows that he has really good 101. I know maybe every performance that he has, you know, isn't the best, but I just feel with the Ring IQ, I think it could be both. Again, you know, when I'm scoring these in my mind, you know, I'm going off of how this fight might play out, and I think, you know, Ring IQ is gonna be it's gonna be for both, man. I did put Ring IQ for both, right? Dang, I keep looking over my notes wrong. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, no, Ring IQ. I guess I went with both, man. I didn't realize that. I mean, what more can I say about Canelo and his Ring IQ? And yes, he has the most experience. He's been a professional since he was a freaking teen, man, maybe like 15 years old. Who knows, maybe even younger, right? Because in Mexico, from what you understand, is they never really keep it truthful with their ages when they're supposed to be fighting professional. But ring IQ, man, I feel like this wasn't even for me. You're on mute, brother.
Thanks, man. Dude, so Run PMC's got some good notes here on Ring IQ. He says, we have just not seen Bivol against enough quality competition to make the case. Canelo has proved in the last 9 years to get smarter in the ring. And that's the other thing, too. We're going to talk about experience a little bit later, but, Canelo has just fought such high levels of competition. I mean, he went in there with Floyd Mayweather at a very young age. He went up there against Shane Mosley, who was faded, but had all kinds of skills, all kinds of tools. And Canelo continues to be an elite fighter. Like, there's somebody who just goes in there and faces good competition, but continues to get beat down and doesn't learn. Like, like take, for instance, like Jesse Vargas, who just got beat down. Like, it wasn't like his experience was going to carry him or his ring IQ. He might learn, but I mean, there's a difference between like being smart and being able to utilize it, and also having like the tenacity to be able to think and perform at such a high level. So other than that, man, it was a pretty clean sweep for Canelo with being able to use his brain and use adjustments while in the ring.
Advantage Canelo. Round 7, durability.
All right, well, it was a clean sweep for that one, brother. George, tell us about it, man.
I mean, what can I say? Canelo 147 to 175. That just shows his durability and him being able to, 175 back to 168, and fighting all these different sizes, all these different types of fighters, sizes of fighters. And I mean, come on, the only time we seen Canelo rocked was 147, and I always believed when I first saw Canelo come onto the scene, I felt like that wasn't his weight, even though a lot of us wanted to see him do a lot more at 47. I just felt like that wasn't the weight for him. And then after that, we've seen him, his surgeons from 154 on, and his durability, man. I mean, what can I say? His chin, he's took, good shots from pretty much every single guy that he's fought, and even we've never seen him rock again. We've never seen him rocked again. So durability, like you said, clean sweep.
You said it, and here's me messing up on my notes. Run PMC is going with Bivol for this one. Sorry about that, George. He says that he leans towards Bivol because of his lack of known injuries and a small pro career. That's definitely a way of thinking about it. And he goes, yes, I know that he had 300 plus amateur fights, and he is a very experienced amateur fighter. But as far as durability, I think that Canelo is truly tested. I mean, that guy's got one hell of a chin. Nobody thinks that Canelo's going to get knocked out, but we just don't know enough about Bivol. Like, does he have the durability? Like, I mean, I don't know. He might, but we don't know that for sure. But with Canelo, we do know that he has durability, and we know that it's very likely that he's going to go 12 rounds against anybody he fights. So besides Run PMC, we had it towards Canelo.
Advantage Canelo. Round 8, tenacity.
All right. Well, this one is a clean sweep. George, tell us about it, brother.
I mean, tenacity, man. And going over these 12 rounds, it's almost like you can just bundle one up. I mean, you can pretty much, put it into one big ball, and you have all of it. And I think just what most of us picking Canelo and most of these, like, I mean, it shows his tenacity, man. It shows what he could do in the ring. It shows, a grit. To me, I feel like when I think tenacity, I think of like strength, and I think of grit. And to me, I think that's the word that sticks out to me when I think of tenacity for Canelo. Like, Canelo has that grit.
He definitely has that grit. And he was somebody who was able to make the adjustment in the second Triple G fight and start going on the front foot against Triple G and started backing up Triple G. And he's able to move forward when it benefits him, and he needs to get in there and do it and to earn a win the hard way. And he's done that multiple times. So you have to respect that. And with Bivol, I think it's just a matter of us just not knowing enough. But regardless, we have a clean sweep on that one.
Advantage Canelo. Round 9, experience.
Come on, man. We already know about this one. George, it's a clean sweep. Tell us why, brother.
I mean, just look at the resume. Just look at the names, the bouts he's been collecting. He's been fighting since he was a kid. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's when you think of Canelo, I mean, that's one of the first words that comes to mind, right? Is he has some of the best experience, man. And for me, it was no. I think honestly, when I looked at the the criteria on all the rounds, like that was the first one. Honestly, I went to answer was the experience.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can't argue it, and amateur is fine, but I mean, if you're talking about just real experience, I mean, Canelo's been getting at it since he was very young, and I mean, he's about the same age as Bivol, so what he's done is very impressive. Even the names, when I was putting together all these highlights, like, I mean, if you look, I mean, these are a bunch of different fights of Canelo's, and Bivol, he has some experience, he fought a Pascal who was kind of past it, Joe Smith, who wasn't really like into his own yet as far as, I don't know, championship level type fighter, something like that. You know what I mean? But there's no arguing, man. Come on, dude. We all know what's up.
Advantage Canelo. Round 10, Ring Generalship.
George, it was a clean sweep except for you, man. You had this one as a tie. Tell us about it, man.
It was, looking at some of these, I think there was a few that were pretty. I remember I texted you guys yesterday. I'm like, hey, is there any way that we can go tie with these? Because I feel like there's a couple of them where these guys match up. Ring Generalship, it should be a clean sweep for Canelo, but I just feel like Bivol can. You can see him you could see the Ring Generalship. And when he's fighting his opponents, he's able to control, keep his opponents where he wants them, on the right side to throw that right hand. He throws the jab really well, to block them to stepping over to their left. I think that's one of the things that sticks out to me. Like I said, man, this was tough because I feel like there was a couple of them, and you saw there was a couple of them that I went with both guys, but I just feel like this is a tie for me. And I mean, again, nothing more I could say about Canelo. You guys know already. You guys know the experience, the strength. It's Canelo. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, and the rest of us went with Canelo. Let me read what Run PMC has to say about the Ring Generalship. He says, Canelo forces fighters to fight at his pace or will adapt and fight at their pace at times. And that's something I really agree with. Canelo, he can do it all. He can let you think that, you're in control of what you want to do. Or, if there's going to be a rhythm that's established between the both of them, he's going to have a say in how it goes. I think that Bivol is a very good ring general, but that's because he hasn't really had to face adversity, in my opinion. When I was going through and just putting together this film and also just watching the fights just to try to get more information on Bivol, like, I don't know, man, like, I feel like he hasn't really been made to make real adjustments. Of course, he's getting advisement and he is making like real adjustments, but I'm saying like adjustments as far as like him actually having to do something different than what he usually does. I didn't really see that too much. You know what I mean?
Okay, good point, man.
But that's me. You know what I mean? And we're just here giving our opinions, man. But regardless, I mean, otherwise,
Advantage Canelo. Round 11, corner.
It was a clean sweep. George, tell us what's up, man.
Eddie Reynoso, man. Just look at the fighters that he has in his stable. And of course, watching the fight that just happened this weekend, there was a couple of things that Eddie was asking of Oscar, and it was the opponent that he had in front. He had it was like a Rubik's cube, and it was like fighting Shakur was like a Rubik's cube, but you were colorblind. That's the way like it felt watching the Oscar Valdez fight. And Eddie had good advice for Eddie, and then the same thing with hearing some of the commentating what they were expecting from Oscar. I think he stepped, keeping his foot. He was leaning over his front foot, and I think that was one of the things that I felt that Eddie was trying to help Oscar with. But back to the corner. I mean, all the fighters that Eddie's had, he had Ryan Garcia. He did wonders for Ryan Garcia. Canelo. He's got Sanchez. Sanchez is gonna be fighting pretty soon. He had Andy Ruiz for one fight, but it's like right now everybody wants to go fight with Eddie. Teofimo wants to even come over. And then even Anthony Joshua, even if he didn't make a decision to pick Eddie Reynoso, like he came and came to get some advice. To me, that just speaks wonders as far as corner. And not to say that we don't think that Bivol's corner is experienced or knows what's going on. I just feel like we know of Eddie Reynoso because we see more of his fighters in the ring.
Likewise, shout out to Bivol's trainer, but it has to be Reynoso for this one.
Advantage Canelo. Round 12, Intangibles.
All right, man, we had a clean sweep for this one. Tell us about it, George.
Yep. Intangibles, right? I mean, I think it goes hand in hand with the corner. So I think that one was pretty simple to pick. I mean, intangibles, you look at his arsenal of offense, you know, that's considered an intangible to me right there, is how to dictate, you know, where to throw his shot, body shots, hooks. And I think a good example was against Plant. And even though you've seen Canelo throw pretty much like the same combination, it was like, you know, right hook to the body, left hook up top. Or if it was left hook to the body, right hand up top. He just carries the intangibles with him. And it's going to be interesting to see how it is, I think, against Bivol, you know. And I think, you know, when we're going over this, the reason why it took me a little while to you know, finally grade this. Yes, I was busy at work, but at the same time, I was just kind of, you know, putting the durability with you know, tenacity, or the power with the speed. And then for me, with the intangibles, I think I felt like it kind of went with the ring IQ, but we picked Bivol and I picked Bivol and Canelo for the ring IQ, but I think the intangibles was pretty much easy for me to pick as far for what Canelo brings to the ring.
Very
and Eddie
nice.
Reynoso in his corner, so that's a plus.
That's right. And Run PMC wants to add that with his notes, and he says that he has Canelo as well because high quality wins against high quality competition trumps all. Winning is everything. And, you know, there's just all kinds of intangibles. I mean, you know, we know that Canelo knows how to operate, just like Floyd Mayweather used to say, like, who performs under the bright lights. Like, we don't even know how Bivol performs under like real adversity, under bright lights, under high stakes, under a fight where he's a 3-1 underdog. Like, we don't know any of that stuff. And he's never had to compete at this type of level. He's never competed with anybody like this. With Canelo, I mean, I doubt there's going to be much that he hasn't seen. He might not have seen Bivol exactly, but I mean, everything around him is going to be very familiar. And we know about Canelo and all the intangibles. With Bivol, we just simply don't know enough. I mean, so that one was easy.
Advantage Canelo.
And with all that tallied up, man, I mean, it's clear.
Canelo wins.
All right, man. I hope you guys all like that, dude. It was just a little bit of fun. I wanted to get those 12 rounds going because I used to really enjoy them on the old ESPN website when they used to do those, man. It was fun to take a look at those. Team Batman Boxing is in the house, man, and I'm glad that he's here. I don't know if he's left already, but you all can thank him for this next segment. Now, last week, I was paging Team Batman Boxing because he had won the Canelo raffle. We had a competition to see who could pick Canelo's next opponent, and Team Batman Boxing went in early and picked Bivol. The outcome was Bivol, and so I reached out to Team Batman Boxing, and I told him, I said, hey, brother, it's time for you to come and collect, right? Let me know what's up with your Cash App, dude, and you can enjoy yourself, man. Thank you so much for just listening, and I wanted to pay it forward, because, I'm having a good time talking boxing with the homies, and he in turn paid us a real nice kindness. He said, hey, man, I'd rather you just hold on to it, or maybe give it to somebody else who could use it. And so, you know what, to me, I think it's already an incurred expense, man. So, you know what, I want to pass that along. I didn't want to advertise it, but whoever's here and whoever's been here, y'all are going to get down on a little bit of a raffle right now. We're going to take that money that Team Batman Boxing would have won, and we're going to do a little game. And while I'm preparing, I'm going to get everybody's name on this list. George, even though you're in Tucson and I'm in California, you know about this game, man. While I'm getting this ready, why don't you tell people how it works? And then also tell us how you found out about it, like who originated it, and who brought it to your knowledge, man.
As far as the
raffle?
raffle?
Well, I mean, yeah, exactly.
I'm kind of new to it, like I've only been with you guys for a few months, but I think
the game itself, like you do this at the house parties.
Oh, dude, yeah. Oh, I'm so,
tell us about it, brother.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, who knows where it originated? I think everybody had the same thought in mind, right? To pick rounds, money. You got so many people watching fights. I mean, usually when we're watching fights at my folks' house, there's at least easily more than 12 people. So you're gonna easily get more rounds. And sometimes there's arguments that happen. You sometimes have people, hey, you know what? I'll take 3 rounds. And all of a sudden, hey, you know what? Let all the rounds go around first. Let's ask everybody first to see who wants to pick a round. I love the game, man. I remember. I think we've all kind of mentioned who we won off of these raffles. I've won. The one that I could think of, obviously, was the Shane Mosley and Fernando Vargas. My cousins were pretty pissed off. I'm like, hey, man, that thing wasn't even a decision. Yeah, maybe I got the home field advantage. Yes, it was at my parents' house. I won the money, and it's fun, right? I mean, I could say my dad won the last few, and with the Canelo ones. I think the last Canelo one that we did, it was the Caleb Plant. Now that I think about it. No, it wasn't Caleb Plant. I don't know which one it was, but there was a couple of ones where Canelo went 12 rounds. My dad was lucky to win that. And the raffle's dope, man. I mean, shoot, it's fun. It's fun to do.
It is fun. JC says, give it to second place. I mean, I don't know who could be the second place opponent. You know what I mean? But I'm glad you're here, JC, and you're going to get first pick, but it's totally random, man. So what I'm going to do is I got the Canelo hat, right? This is what we're going to use. All right. And so I have all the rounds. I'm going to put them in right here. And I got the list of people. And if there's anybody in the chat, we have a silent listenership base. If you want to say hi right now, you can get in on this, man. And also I'm including George in this and myself because I want to play, man. You know what I'm saying? I want to play. I'm a transplant, like I used to have this game back home. My dad was the one who kind of introduced it to me. He goes around, and he, the house parties are at my dad's house and he'd go like, all right, $5 for a round. Who wants it? And then everybody would be down because everybody knew it was a lot of fun. And then usually there'd be like another round of 12 rounds. And then usually there'd be like another like dollar rounds, we just keep going until everybody was just done. And then my dad, God bless him. If somebody who didn't have any cash, he'd be like, oh, I got you, cause it was just for fun. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? Nando, you slid in just in time, man. We're doing a little hat raffle. We're doing the party, man. So hang tight. I'm going to put you down. Right after Team Batman. All right, man. So let's do it and take a little look. So JC's up first. Now, if the fight ends in your round, you win $50. Okay. It's rounds 1 through 12. And then we also have decision, which is something that was new to me, George. I don't know if you ever just had 1 to 12 and that's it. But, I was talking to D-Style and he said that they also did decision. Mm-hmm. And how did you have it, man?
Yeah, no, there was like that. I think there was at least 3 sets of it, right? So there was the decision, who won the decision and who was going to win, especially if like it was a fighter that you knew that was going to win by knockout. So you made it more interesting. And then even when you have these like little side bets with like some of my friends, it's like the over under. Okay, what round do you think, Canelo's going to knock him out? Or do you think, Pacquiao has the chance to knock this guy out? Yeah, decision. You have the overall, who, whatever round, no matter who wins. And then you have obviously the guy to pick for the decision and the guy to win for the knockout. So there was always a bunch, especially if you had enough people and enough people wanted to participate. So once the 12 rounds went and there were still more people that wanted to play, then you went another 12 rounds of picking who's going to win the decision. So
nice, man. Well, see, I didn't know that these variations and who knows where it really came from. JC, we're starting with you, brother. You got round 2. I don't know. I think, I don't know. Just hang on to that one. You know what? I think you have a chance to go again since you're in early, JC. So I wouldn't worry about that one. Remy, you're up next, brother. Let's see what you got here. Round 2. I don't know about that one. I wouldn't be happy. I'd probably buy another $5 round if I was in it. Round 5 for Remy. Well, what do you think? What do you think about 5? Too early?
That's tough. I mean, it is Canelo. He does got the power. You never know. Bivol may not like those body shots.
Puro Sur Central. You got decision, man. Hey, that's not bad, bro. That's not bad at all. All right. Never seen Tin Man before, but since he's here showing some love, man, we got him in here. Let's see what he's got. Round 3. All right.
Look at Nando. Hey, man, that's a really good, 10 to me is like the most logical thing. If it's going to get stopped before 12, I would say 10 as well.
Yeah, I like 10. And you're going to hear about my prediction here in a little bit, but you're right. I think late rounds is where it's at. I think anything after 8 is game, like I was saying. And even though Team Batman Boxing did say, hey, man, why don't you keep the money? I'm going to add him to this. And if he wins, I'm not going to take no for an answer, man. Really nice gesture from Team Batman Boxing. So don't thank me, thank him and the good energy that we have going on this week because it is fight week, man. So enjoy the week. and enjoy the fight. You got round 4, brother. Team Batman Boxing has round 4. Nando, you're up, brother. All right, let's see if he gets what he wants here. Round 1. Nando, I'm sorry, man. You know what the funny thing was? Like, okay, after the Pacquiao fight, Pacquiao versus Hatton, I felt like any round was good. After Pacquiao versus Hatton, when we did this game with Pacquiao, it was like, oh man, anything after like 4 is good, you know? Look at Nopal. Nopal says he's here. He's got 2 bars of reception. He's trying to get on in this raffle. That's what I think is going on.
Yeah, he knows. He knows what's going on. What's up, Nopal? We're missing you over here, man.
We sure are, man. But we're having a good time. Hope you're having a good time out in nature,
Yeah,
brother.
be safe. Make sure we're
George,
mosquito repellent.
You're up, brother. You know.
Oh, shit.
Here we go. Here we go. So,
Give me 11.
12. Not bad.
Man.
That's not bad at all. And you know what? And you know, I'll talk a little bit more about this in my prediction, but Canelo's going to jump into that gear towards the end. You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, if it looks like Canelo needs a knockout to win, he might just up it. You know what I mean? If he thinks it's close, he might execute Bivol if he has the option to, you know. So 12 is not bad at all.
No, he might want to close the show out. You never know.
Here's me, and I'm hoping for, I think 11 is still available. Let's see here. I got round 10. All right.
Oh,
all right.
Man.
And Nando, I'm not going to trade, man. I'm sorry. I'm excited for this. I haven't played this, and I can't even remember last time. It's been a while, man, since I've been home for like a fight where there's actually a lot of people on the barbecue and all that stuff, and people want to throw down on buying rounds. But now we're going back up top, man. So the early bird gets the worm. JC, you're up, brother. You got round 9.
Ooh, not bad. Still not a bad round.
That's not bad at all. Remy, round 8. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Puro Sur Central, you're up, brother. Round 7, dude. You're doing all right, dude. 7's not bad. I think that's when you could finally start thinking that maybe something's going to happen for you. So keep these rounds in mind, Puro Sur. Enjoy the fight, man.
Yeah. No, Paulo, you're going to have to tell me about Yosemite, man. I've been wanting to go out there, and it'll be beautiful. You got to let us know how it is out there or how your trip went.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Tin Man, you got round 11, man. So I don't know who Tin Man is, but I mean, you've come at the right time, man. So you better come back around and tell me what's up, you know, if it ends in round 11. All right. And so Team Batman Boxing gets the very last round, as it should be, man. He was the one that passed along this good energy. So he's going to get round 6, man. So I want you all to enjoy the fights. You know, in this game, like I said, you guys can get a pot going if you happen to be lucky enough to have a group of actual boxing fans.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, if they're showing up because it's the casual boxing weekend, just, say, hey, we're doing $5 a round. Winner gets the pot, and we just draw randomly, you know, and it's good energy. You know what I mean? Nano's here giving a shout out. Puro Su says he's with it. All right, man. Well, good luck. You know your rounds, dude. So you know what, dude? It's time for predictions, man. George, break it down for us, man. Like, tell us about this fight and who you have winning.
Man, I know a couple months back, or maybe about 2 months ago, when we finally heard who Canelo was going to fight, you know, it was, he's going to fight. Okay, let me start with this. Mike Coppinger is really bad at trying to be first to tell everybody who's fighting next. He's like, we know it's going to be Charlo. Eddie Reynoso comes out a week later, shuts it down, and says, no, it's not Charlo. We have a couple fighters in mind. I think even Joe B actually mentioned this one. I think he actually said that he had an insider, or he knew somebody that said that this is the fight that's going to happen. Either way, no matter who Canelo picked, it's fireworks. Excuse me. It's going to be a great fight. You know, he's fighting a name. Okay, to us, the bouts he got were named fighters, right? We know these guys were legit champions, even if they were European or not. Like, these guys are professionals. They have a championship belt for a reason. Canelo came in. He took advantage. He knew that he can go in there and get these belts from these guys. Whether if people believe that they were easy bouts to get, I respect fighters 100%, man. Like, these guys are professional, and they're doing something that I would say 90% of us on YouTube haven't done, is get in the ring professionally, get punched in the face, and the dish out punches too. So for one, I respect fighters no matter what. But this is a fight people were asking for, right? I mean, from Teddy Atlas to, I'm sure, Andre Ward to Timothy Bradley. Bivol was one of the names that was thrown out there that people wanted to see. And now that it finally happened, when we discussed this about a month or two ago, I think pretty much most of us were kind of in agreement that this really is going to be one of Canelo's truest tests, especially going up to 175. And I still feel that same way fight week. You know, sometimes my predictions change from one day to the next, or 1 week to the next week, or even of the day of the fight. You know, I've changed my predictions many times, but I'm still gonna go with this one. I'm favoring Canelo, but this is definitely gonna be a fight that you're gonna see where he's gonna have to dig deep. It's gonna be a really hard fight. Yeah, Nando, you're absolutely right, man. This is an extremely hard fight. He's gonna win an extremely hard fought decision, and I think you're gonna see you're the very best of Canelo. I think when you fight somebody of a Bivol, it will bring out the best in any opponent. And same thing with Bivol. Fighting somebody on Canelo's level is going to bring out the best Bivol. So and you can see it in the training videos. You see both of them looking sharp, looking great. But man, my decision on this one is going to be an extremely close decision for Canelo. And he does have the power. You know, he does have the power to stop Bivol. And if I'm going to say Canelo, whoever's going to win a stoppage, I feel like it'll be Canelo, obviously. And I could see that it'll be a body shot. And there's a lot of body to hit for Canelo right there, Bivol. So here it is, man. And my final prediction, I'm saying Canelo by a split decision, a true split decision.
Very nice, brother. But in your mind, you think that you're going to see it as Canelo having won the fight, even though it's going to be close?
Yeah, you know how it is. Sometimes people are like, "Oh, that was in a split decision," or, you know, how could it be in a unanimous? I think in our eyes, we're really going to see it's going to come down to maybe like the championship rounds. You know, Bivol might pack on some early rounds because, you know, Canelo's not a fast starter. You know, he likes to fill people out. So I think it will come down to the championship rounds, and I think it will be Canelo slightly favoring this one. A true split decision for me, for Canelo.
Awesome. Thanks so much, George. We got the homie Nopal Buxianos in the house coming to us all the way from Yosemite, man. Nopal, can you hear us, brother?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
What's up, man? How you enjoying the nature, man? I hear that you're not sipping on the Michelob Ultras quite yet, right? It's too early. Or what's the deal?
Nah. What I had is my dad had a bottle of mezcal, bro, and I hit it with some lemon. Ooh, that was super good. It straightened my stomach right out in the morning. Yeah.
Very nice, man. Well,
some good Mexican remedies.
Yeah, I was kind of scared to hit it because I had a bad experience one time, but you know, I used some lemon, so it was pretty good, man. Is it too much background noise? Did you guys see the waterfall? Look,
it sounds nice.
Beautiful.
It gives me peace. Yeah, man. Yosemite's beautiful.
Man.
Hey, so Nopal, so you're chilling, man. Tell us real quick, brother. Tell us about your prediction, man. Who you got winning this fight? We read off your 12 rounds too, man. You were pretty much in agreement with me. Actually, Nopal, you gave Canelo a clean sweep, damn near every single category except for footwork. You know.
Yeah.
Tell us about how you see this fight, man.
Well, the one department where Canelo stands out for me is intangibles. Basically, Bivol's barely. I wouldn't even call this a heavy risk because Canelo's a smaller guy. So Bivol probably has confidence on his side a little bit, thinking he can probably go in there and bully the smaller guy. So, but intangibles for me is something like we've seen Canelo taking these huge risks. So, you know, he has the intangibles and, but you never know. I mean, I think it's still kind of like a 50-50 fight, regardless of what Canelo can do in his respective weight classes. Now he's stepping into one that is not his, and there's a big possibility that the big guy could pull this off. And thing about Bivol is he's like a robot programmed to just not take any risks or anything. He's going to be in and out, shooting his jab all over the place from the outside. And if Canelo tries to lunge in, he's going to try to hit him with a hook or something like that. So it can be a pretty close fight. But, you know, I'm hoping Canelo pulls it out by knockout. I would say around the 11th round, but never know. You know, I'd like to say it's probably going to be Canelo by split decision.
Oh, a second pick for Canelo by split decision. Nopal, if you just want to mute yourself up real quick, man, while I give my prediction. If you want to hang out, we're probably just going to finish up and, you know, give any last thoughts about this fight here in just a second, man. I'm glad that you're here, brother.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Yeah, Rider of the Storm has joined us too, man. He says, salute, gentlemen. Theirs isn't a fighter who can actually beat Canelo except Bivol. He's quick with power, better be fast power, but slower. And I'll tell you, I'm excited for this fight. I always said early on, and this is before I think Canelo even started chasing undisputed at 168. I always said, like, out of everybody from 168 to 175, Bivol would present the most problems. I've always said that, and I still believe it. I think that this will be stylistically Canelo's toughest matchup. I agree with people who say Better Beef is going to bring it more and has more power, and that one's tough in another way. But as far as stylistic matchup goes, I think Bivol has a great skill set. He's bigger and he's stronger than a lot of these 168 pounders, and I think that he has pretty fast hands. Like, I was watching the Caleb Plant fight. I think that Plant might have slightly faster hands, possibly. But I think Bivol has excellent footwork as well. So, I mean, he's just fast in general. He knows how to get in, how to get out. But the more film I watched, especially while putting my 12 rounds together, the more that I saw that, it's kind of like you said, No Paul, he is a robot, but he's also a robot, like, in bad ways. Like, I wouldn't call him like formulaic, but like, he's never really had to be off of his own rhythm. Like, even when he makes his own adjustments, like, I noticed that, he likes to do what he does where, he punches and then, he likes to back up a little bit. And then if you come forward and you're too slow, he'll tag you real good. But the thing is like, he's not used to dealing with fast punchers, and Canelo is not as fast as Bivol, but I don't think Bivol's ever had to worry about something coming back that is so fast and so powerful. And I think it could end up neutralizing him. Another thing too is that Bivol likes to kind of come in very quick on a little step in mid-range and then sit on his punches. Like, I think that that's only going to happen a couple times. Like, if Canelo just starts swinging with him and they go hook for hook, I think that Bivol's going to have to start being on the outside, and I think Canelo is going to apply some pressure early. I think he's going to have a high guard coming in, kind of like he did against Kovalev, to give something for Bivol to touch. Like, I think that Bivol is going to know that Canelo has a couple things underneath his sleeve, right? Like, we all know that Canelo doesn't really fully show you everything, and I think he's going to have the ultimate respect for Canelo. So I think that the first few rounds are going to be tentative. If Bivol can, I think he's really going to try to jab his way towards some ugly early rounds, but in the meantime, Canelo is going to be banking those body shots, hitting with power, and continuing to apply pressure. I don't think Bivol's ever had to think as much as he's going to have to think in this particular fight. I think that Bivol's going to have to worry about the deep water with Canelo. Like, back in the day, it used to be like, oh, Canelo gets tired, but now it's like, once you get towards like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like those are the rounds where Canelo could possibly finish you off, especially if it looks like he needs to knock you out. He'll go for it and we'll finish you off. If Canelo banks a lot of these early rounds, I could see him possibly taking Bivol to a decision, but I could also see him just choosing to execute Bivol. I think that Bivol doesn't really necessarily have the rhythm to just continue just to jab on the outside. Like, he's a rhythmic fighter in his own way. Like, I think he needs to throw combos. I think he needs to throw his cross. And I think him just being on the outside with the jab, I don't think it's going to work. Like, I think that it's going to offset him. And also, he's just not going to like the pain in the back of his head. He might be thinking too, like, well, have I seen Canelo's last gear? Have I seen his third gear? Have I seen his fourth gear? And also too, like, the other thing that I noticed about Bivol is, like, he's not very good at hitting somebody who's got decent head movement. Now, I didn't find very many people who did have good head movement, but Bivol's last opponent did have some decent-ish head movement, and Bivol had trouble tagging him at times. Like, he's never faced anybody as elusive and as defensive-minded as Canelo, and he's never had to deal with any type of power coming back. So I think that Bivol, although he has grit and is a dog, like, we're going to learn a lot more about Bivol, but I think ultimately what we're going to find out is that Bivol can't hang. I'm predicting an 11th round KO by Canelo because he has to, even though I know Canelo's a man of peace and would rather not knock him out. That's what's going to happen. That's my decision. What do y'all think, man?
Excellent breakdown. And I think that'll be the start off for Bivol is he's going to have to not just throw jabs at the face, but he's just going to have to throw jabs just in Canelo's direction if he wants to offset him. But Canelo's, I think, he's one of the best right now making adjustments, and just the experience, again, back to the experience, Canelo has the experience on that 12-round platform that we just used. So he's seen fighters like that. He knows how to fight bigger guys. It's not like this is his first taller opponent. Now, the interesting thing will be to see if Bivol makes adjustments. If he doesn't make adjustments and keeps up with his rhythm, or he's able to, keep Canelo at bay, which, thinking of Canelo, man, like, he's got a great stance. He's really good with his upper body movement. His agility is good. So I think his agility will offset Bivol a little bit. And that's what I'm saying. In the beginning, I say like the first 4 rounds, I think we're gonna be able to really see how Canelo really holds up, or how Canelo really goes against someone at 175. I think Bivol will bank in like the first 3 rounds early, and there's nothing wrong with that. And people are obviously you're gonna see him on Twitter like, oh, I told you guys, see Canelo gonna hang with somebody of Bivol's skills. This is a 12-round fight, man. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint, and that's how fights are scored round by round. It's not what the person did in the 4th round. You can't say the person that almost knocks somebody out in the 4th round and then goes to 12 rounds. You can't say that's the winner. And the same thing here. Like, we can't say just because Bivol put away some early rounds where Canelo's computing everything that Bivol's doing and trying to win and execute, that's going to be the end of the fight. It's a 12-round fight in this marathon. I think it's, again, I think we all in agreement here. It's Canelo by a true split decision for me.
Oh, definitely. And you just reminded me of another point I wanted to make. Great stuff. The thing about like Bivol that I noticed is like, and I mentioned this before, he's really good at like punching on the way out, and he's also good at punching you on the way out. But one of the things I noticed is like when he's punching you on the way out, it's somebody who's kind of retreating, who's looking to get out of range. I don't think he's ever like tagged anybody who's just a really good on the back foot defensive elusive fighter. That's not what's on his resume. Like, to me, like, I think Canelo's just going to bring like a total set of problems that are different. Like, and Canelo won't even really want to back up. On top of that too, I think Bivol likes tapping in range and he likes coming in with that cross, but Canelo, on top of coming in with a high guard that's really good, his placement's really good too, where he can kind of back up just a little bit, but his foot placement's kind of the same. And then all of a sudden he knows that he's out of range. And you only need if Canelo can get this guy within a few inches, you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing, when people were talking about the Billy Joe Saunders fight and about what Canelo had to do to catch him, I always said, well, hey, listen, Billy Joe's going to have to punch him. And if he punches Canelo, that means Billy Joe's in range. And I think that's the same case here. Like, I think that Bivol has a good jab, but I don't think he's just like a super long, straight down the pipe, kind of like Lara. His jab's kind of like, I don't know, it comes in at a nice angle, which I like. But I think that if there's anything other than a jab being thrown, like a really nice jab, like, I think Canelo's going to be enraged to counter. And his timing Canelo's timing. It offsets speed. We know this. All right. Nopal, you got any final thoughts on this fight, brother?
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to say is that I co-sign everything you guys both said, especially you, Chicano. The only other thing is that there's a difference in speed. It's like Bivol has more of a constant speed. Canelo has more of an explosive speed, and that's about it. So we got to see what happens with this fight, man. I know it's going to be a good fight.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Nancy. Thanks for joining us. And then Nopal, it looks like Remy wants to know if you plan to hit up Glacier Point.
Yeah, absolutely. We're planning on hitting all them spots. Right now, we're kind of like on a little shuttle bus that takes you around, but we might have to get in the truck and just, do our own thing. You know what I mean? But of course, we're going to go to Glacier Point. We're going to go to all the good spots.
I heard you're climbing Half Dome tomorrow. Is that true, compa?
Well, we'll see. I don't think so, man. I don't got no climbing gear. So. Hey, you guys have a great one, man. My battery's dying over here. So thank you guys for all the support, and you guys have a wonderful day, okay?
Hey, you Absolutely. Too. You know what? We're all signing off. Hey, everybody, enjoy fight week, man. And this fight's for everybody, whether you like Canelo, dislike him, man. Like, we only get the Cinco de Mayo fight once a year, and it's nice when it actually shows up on Cinco de Mayo that weekend, man. So I want everybody to enjoy the fight, and the El Chile Crew will see you next time. Peace.
Peace.